I love the first day of school when everything is possible. Mr. President, honored guests, and members of the Dartmouth community, this convocation marks the beginning of Dartmouth's 245th year. I am Ingali Samir, Interim Dean of the College. I am especially pleased to welcome all of our students, both undergrads and those pursuing advanced degrees from our graduate programs. We also extend a special welcome to all who are attending your first convocation at Dartmouth. Convocation marks both new beginnings and the continuation of Dartmouth's legacy of achievement. It is a time for us to remind ourselves of our commitment to live together in responsible community and to work together to make Dartmouth and the world better places. We will begin with a prayer offered by Reverend Nancy Vogel, class of '85, the Director of Religious and Spiritual Life at Dartmouth. Please welcome Reverend Nancy Vogel.
William Jewett Tucker, the 9th president of Dartmouth College, its last preacher president, said this: "Be not content with the commonplace in character any more than the commonplace in ambition or intellectual attainment. Do not expect that you will make any lasting or very strong impression on the world through intellectual power without the use of an equal amount of conscience and heart." In a world where violence at home and abroad has replaced dialogue and negotiation, where the Ebola virus is running rampant in parts of Africa, where fish die off because they mistakenly think the enormous amounts of plastic degrading in our oceans is food, where deep-rooted divisions between rich and poor, white and black, men and women, us and them, you and me and myself, keep us from being who we were created to be and can be. In the midst of all that, it is not an understatement to say that the world needs you. Dartmouth needs you to use the 4 years ahead of you to carry on a great Dartmouth tradition, that of being passionate and compassionate, intellectually and ethically wise and discerning, dedicated to the greatest good. Irenaeus of Lyon, a 2nd century Christian theologian, wrote that the glory of God is a human being fully alive. Figure out what it means for you to be fully alive. Pursue learning and experiences here at Dartmouth that challenge and help you feel more fully alive, and avoid the ones that don't. Explore, argue, contemplate, stay up late, get up early, make new friends, do whatever it's going to take to be fully alive. Because there is no way you will make any lasting or very strong impression on the world if you're not. These next 4 years are going to challenge you beyond what you think you are capable of. You will experience incredible highs and crushing lows. You will succeed and fail beyond your wildest imagining. This is, after all, what it means to be fully alive. But here's the crux of it. Never confuse hard work, success, or failure as the measure of your worth. You are already worth everything and loved and cherished completely. I mean that. No one else may come right out and tell you that, but we all mean that. You are already worth everything and loved and cherished completely. Never forget that when you're up high and especially when you're down low. There is a Buddhist practice called metta, or loving kindness meditation. It is the simple and clear intention of goodwill from one to another. It is a powerful reminder of our own intrinsic worth and that of all others, and because of this, a very effective tool for breaking down barriers and restoring a positive sense of connectedness. So as we begin this journey together and search for, and God willing, find ways of positively connecting with one another, my prayer, my invocation, adapted from this Buddhist practice of loving kindness, is simply this. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be fully alive. Amen.
Now, please rise for the Gospel Choir and Glee Club performance of America the Beautiful. Thank you, that was beautiful. It is now my pleasure to introduce this year's Student Assembly President, Casey Dennis, class of 2015. Casey is a government major and international studies minor from Chester, New Jersey. Casey has been involved in a variety of activities during his time here. He has worked in the federal government for New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and for Judge Emmett Sullivan of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. He has been a volunteer for Dartmouth Cancer and Patient Services, chair of Student Assembly's Alcohol and Harm Reduction Committee, social chair of his fraternity, and treasurer of the Inter-Fraternity Council. As Student Assembly President, he serves as a member of Paleopolis, a senior society of student leaders that advises the president and the dean of the college. In his free time, Casey enjoys spending time with his family, playing basketball and baseball, and reading about politics and sports. President Hanlon, Provost Dever, and I look forward to working with him this year. Please join me in welcoming Casey Dennis.
Thank you so much, Dean Amir, for your kind introduction. And a sincere thanks to my friends and family for being here today. It means the world to me that you came out to show your love and support, and it's hard to picture my time at Dartmouth without your ongoing guidance and inspiration. That being said, President Hanlon, faculty, staff, administration, and fellow students, it is an incredible honor to be here today, and it is with great privilege and gratitude that I welcome you, the largest class in Dartmouth history, the Dartmouth class of 2018. When I was told that I would be addressing you this afternoon, I contemplated long and hard about what I would say. I thought to myself, what words could I possibly offer to the Dartmouth community that could uplift and ignite a body that has experienced so much during my time here? And for the 18s, I wondered how I could offer guidance in making their next 4 years here the best years of their lives. These were the questions I pondered for quite some time. And every time I sat down to begin writing, the answer eluded me. But you see, one thing I've learned in life is that you find your answers to some of the toughest questions in the places you least expect to find them. I did not find my answers staring at a blank screen, but I found it sitting around a fire in the woods, surrounded by my closest friends. Last week, my Vice President Frank and I had the honor of hosting our Student Assembly Executive Board at the Class of '66 Lodge for a retreat. We wanted to set aside time for our board to get to know one another and build relationships that would allow us to become an effective and productive team. During the retreat, we asked each member to share moments from their past that highlighted a challenging time for them. Through these heartfelt and emotional stories, I found the answer to my ultimate question. Sitting around that fire, I realized each individual had faced their own set of adversities, but it was through our differences that I found the one thing that we all had in common. And that was the reason we were all sitting around that campfire in the woods on a cold September night in the first place. It was our vision of a better Dartmouth. It was the same vision I had the night that I decided to run for president, and the same vision that ignited our campaign last spring, which received an unprecedented amount of support from our friends and our community members. It is this shared vision of a Dartmouth that coalesces as one family to address the issues we face as a school. A vision where students can thrive intellectually, emotionally, and physically every single day. A Dartmouth where every individual, from an alum to an administrator, from a faculty member to a student, understands that they have an important role to play and our continued success as an institution. Class of 2018, this afternoon, I'd like to share with you how this vision can become our reality. By embracing the values that contributed to the founding of Dartmouth College, we allow them to guide us through our daily journeys here in Hanover. These values of community, diversity, and empowerment are driven by mutual respect for one another. However, this year, I've decided that it's simply not enough to embody these core values. We must take it upon ourselves to expand them. We need to strive to become a student body that understands our responsibilities as supporting one another, a body that commits to originality and moves away from conformity, and a body that discovers the boundless opportunities ignited by the students. This new set of values is what I want to discuss with you today as steps to reaching this vision. The first step is growing our dynamic community. 18s, today you officially walk through the doors of Dartmouth on a path of tremendous legacy built by an amazing group of men and women who came before you. A trail has been blazed for you, and as new Dartmouth students, you now have the responsibility of building the community that you've been left with, a community that exists not just within the streets of Hanover, but throughout the world. It's safe to say that this will not come easily, but in your time here, you will have the chance to dictate its direction and make it your own. And I truly encourage you to make it your own. I think it's time we break away from the deeply rooted concept that we must simply cling on to our own traditions. The Dartmouth of yesterday is not the Dartmouth of now, and the Dartmouth of now is ours. This is the one we will remember, so we should make it the one for us. Now, when I think about this community, I think of a place I love, and I think of a place I value and appreciate every single day. But I also think of a place I can critique and improve. Make lifelong friends and cherish memories during your time here. Let Dartmouth be a place you'll send your kids to one day. And most importantly, leave this place better than you found it. Our second step is growing our school to be the most diverse that it's ever been. This past March, Dartmouth celebrated the 110th birthday of one of its most famous graduates, Dr. Seuss, who once posed an outstanding question: why fit in when you were born to stand out? 18s, you are diverse and come from all different walks of life. You have different backgrounds and perspectives, and you strive for different goals and aspirations. But despite these positive differences, individually, you all bear something in common. And that's the fact that every single one of you has something unique to offer to Dartmouth. You were picked for a reason. Think back on the grueling days of the college application process. Think back to when you got that acceptance letter from Dartmouth College. There was something about you that stood out to those who read your application. There was something that made you different from the next applicant. So now that you're at the threshold of starting your Dartmouth career, don't hide in the thing that made you different. Bask in it. Live with it. Carry it with you on a daily basis. Conformity is not an option, nor was it the reason for your acceptance. Your acceptance letter was your golden ticket to being yourself, your chance to shine your light. Michael Sam, the first openly gay NFL player, said it the best: great things happen when you have the courage to be yourself. Just like your community, your class is as diverse as you make it. And that will come about as each of you finds the bravery and hope to accomplish your individual dreams and make the most of your Dartmouth experience. Some people don't believe the vision of a more united, thriving Dartmouth is possible. But I'm here to tell you that at this college, there is no glass ceiling. You are empowered. We are empowered. Never before has a Dartmouth class had as many resources to guide them through their journey. Use this community, the alums, your peers, and your professors to unleash your own potential and the potential of the 18 class in its entirety. Don't sit back. Take the chance to learn from those around you. The effort that you put in to pursue your individual dreams should be the same effort you put in to come together as one body and as one Dartmouth family. Again, here at Dartmouth, no dream is too big. I know that from a personal level, because in December 2010, Dartmouth did not simply accept Casey Dennis. They accepted the grandson of a woman who graduated from Syracuse University when only 13 African American students were enrolled at the school. They accepted the grandson of a man who struggled to buy a house for his family because of the color of his skin. And they accepted the son of two parents who were committed to the idea and the importance of an education. This, me being here today, is a dream come true. And my story is now a part of Dartmouth's story. And if you ever doubt that dreams are too big for us to accomplish as a whole, just look back to this past spring when students elected the first African American duo to lead the Dartmouth student body. 18s, we can complete this vision, and it starts today with the new, eager, ambitious class. A class who assumes its responsibility right away to respect the differences of its peers. I'd like to leave you with the quote that I read every day before I left middle school that read, "Did you make a difference in someone's life today?" 18s, I ask you the same question, but I don't expect that answer today. It is my hope that this quote finds you on the morning of your commencement 4 years from now, and that your answer is yes. Class of 2018, welcome to Dartmouth, and I hope you're ready. But I also hope from this day forward, you have the chance to smile every day, knowing there's no place you'd rather be. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Provost Carolyn Dever. Provost Dever arrived on July 1st and joins many of you for her first convocation here at Dartmouth. She served as the Dean of the College of Arts and Science at Vanderbilt University beginning in 2008. Before joining the Vanderbilt community in 1999, she was granted tenure as a member of the faculty at New York University. A scholar of gender studies and 19th century British literature and culture, she brings more than a decade of leadership experience in higher education administration, a strong commitment to teaching, and a record of academic accomplishment. As Dartmouth's Chief Academic Officer, she is instrumental in long-range institutional planning and implementation, including the integration of academic and student life programs. Carolyn earned her AB in English and American Literature from Boston College and her MA and PhD in English and American Literature and Language from Harvard University. Please join me in welcoming Provost Carolyn Dever.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome again the class of 2018, as well as all of the new graduate and professional students. We are very happy you're here. Let me also extend a warm welcome home to all returning graduate and professional students, as well as 17s, 16s, and 15s. As Dean Amir mentioned, I am Dartmouth's new provost. I just came on board this summer, and like many newcomers here, I am very much in the process of learning my way around this beautiful campus. Last January, the Dartmouth, our student newspaper, ran a video feature named, "What's a Provost Anyway?" In the clip, the D asks the question, what does a provost actually do? To a handful of keenly perspicacious Dartmouth students. Now, some of the answers conveyed confusion. We have a provost? Some, a bit of apprehension. Quietly, are we supposed to know this? and some were just plain humorous. Perhaps my favorite answer was from the student who declared that the provost is the person who chooses the college's lunch meats. As it happens, that is not my area. My role, the role of a provost, is to serve as the college's chief academic officer, and this means that I work to ensure and build on Dartmouth's academic excellence. As an Ivy League institution and a top-ranked college for undergraduate teaching, there is no question about whether Dartmouth's academics are indeed excellent. But I spend a lot of time thinking about how to build academic excellence for tomorrow. Where, how, and when should we invest to situate Dartmouth most powerfully for the future's best opportunities? So today I'd like to get a little bit more specific. I'd like to explain what we mean by academic excellence and offer several examples of how we're committed to it. Dartmouth's greatest resource is undoubtedly its people, its world-class faculty, and you, its students. The most vital work of our institution is what you and the faculty accomplish together: exemplary scholarship, cutting-edge research, your intellectual transformation. And much of my job is, in turn, how best to facilitate that work, how to develop your inspired, creative academic environment in inspired, creative ways. Often this is a matter of support, of commitment, and I am deeply committed to supporting your outstanding work. For example, we know that last year, 16% of Dartmouth graduates in the class of 2014 published or presented their original research. That's amazing. 16% of 2014s published or presented their original research. This is a number I only expect to go up, but what does it mean really? By undertaking original research and by following it through to completion, your peers created knowledge that had never been known before. This is an exceptional fact and an exceptional challenge, because as any faculty member or graduate student can share with you, breaking new ground is hard. Asking tough questions and pursuing bold ideas is not easy. It isn't easy for anyone. Yet perseverance is inextricable from excellence. Every great thesis, painting, solution, model, novel, design, theory, or theorem was not the outcome of uninterrupted successes. Rather, each one was the culmination of persistence through an extraordinary number of roadblocks, struggles, and failures. Some call it grit. 18s and new graduate students, for the years ahead, I'd like you always to keep this brief message somewhere in your minds. It's okay to fail. Excellence isn't the absence of failures, it's the sum of determinations. This leads to my first commitment, supporting your bold ideas from start to finish, from when they're just delicate ideas in your mind to when they're codified and canonized in print or on screen, or whatever the medium of your choice. My second commitment involves every aspect of academic and social life on campus, recruiting and retaining a diverse faculty and a diverse student body. We must continually aspire toward a robust and diverse campus environment, diversity of thought, backgrounds, beliefs, expertise, and experiences. Because just as excellence isn't easy, it also isn't one-dimensional. It demands a multiplicity of viewpoints and voices and an abundance of healthy discourse. And while we don't always have to agree with each other, we must always, both inside and outside of the classroom, respect each other. So consider it this way. Our differences are what connect us most powerfully to one another when we commit to the challenges of understanding. And that, too, provides us with a pathway to excellence. My third commitment involves ensuring the continuity of your academic and social experiences. We strive to foster an environment of inclusiveness, cohesion, and unity that doesn't have a term or year-long timeline, but instead extends throughout your entire Dartmouth career and long afterwards. We're in the process of developing a model of learning communities known as houses. Each house will have a resident faculty director because the academic mission is at the heart of the residential experience. Each of you is a Dartmouth student 24/7, 365, and a member of the Dartmouth community for life. With a new house system, students can live together not only in their first year, but also in upper-class residence clusters for the remaining 3 years. There will also be the option to live in themed residences that will provide greater immersion in certain key areas such as entrepreneurship and global learning, and some of you already have the opportunity to live in those spaces. Put simply, we aspire to cultivate and sustain great community in all of campus life, driven by our values of academic excellence. Before I close, I'd like to share a few numbers about the Dartmouth academic experience. More than 90% of students report satisfaction with the quality of instruction, out-of-class availability of faculty, helpfulness of faculty, and level of intellectual excitement on campus. While I'm pleased with these numbers, President Hanlon and I understand that we cannot become complacent with our position, and we must continue to innovate. We must pursue our charge, our commitments tirelessly in order to create a sustainable template for academic excellence now and for all time. Now, the D's piece, What is a Provost Anyway, didn't cover this, but many years ago, the term provost held a much different connotation. Provost was, in fact, another word for prison warden. I ask you to remember that my role is actually the opposite of that. I'm here to further your academic development, which is really a matter of liberation. The liberation one experiences in learning new ideas, asking new questions, and forming new answers with other bright, curious, and driven students. This is the heart of Dartmouth's academic excellence, and I'm so eager to see your contributions to it in the years ahead. Again, warmest welcome to each and every one of you, as together we commence Dartmouth's 245th academic year. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. I'm now pleased to introduce Dartmouth's 18th president, Philip J. Hanlon, a Phi Beta Kappa member of the Dartmouth class of 1977. President Hanlon went on to obtain his doctorate from the California Institute of Technology. Prior to returning to Dartmouth, he served as provost and the Donald J. Lewis Professor of Mathematics at the University of Michigan. As a mathematician, President Hanlon's research has earned numerous honors and awards, including Sloan and Guggenheim Fellowships. He is a fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences and is passionate about undergraduate teaching, including a math course this fall. President Hanlon has been inspiring the Dartmouth community with his enthusiasm for educating the next generation of world leaders and with his vision for our future. Please join me in welcoming Dartmouth's President Phil Hanlon.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome, everyone. And I have to say to Walt and our fantastic gospel choir that rendition of America the Beautiful was as stirring today as when I first heard it just about a year ago on the green. So thank you for that. Welcome especially to the class of 2018. At the beginning of a journey that will change your life in ways unimaginable at this moment. And to our upperclassmen, graduate students, our faculty, staff, and alumni, we are pleased to join with you in this quintessential moment in the life of the college. For all of us, Convocation is a special moment, a time when we gather to look forward with great excitement and imagine the future together. Speaking as both a member of the class of 77, who once sat where the 18s are today, and as president, I would like to talk today, however, about another kind of moment that I hope will come to each of you during your student time at Dartmouth. It's that magical moment when your passions will collide with your intellectual curiosity, the moment that unleashes your energies. Now, I'm not talking about the energy required to get out of bed and face calculus at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. That's fueled easily enough by large amounts of caffeine. I'm talking about the moment when the switch goes on and you decide where you dare to make a mark. Not in your classes, not here on campus, but with one of the great issues of the day. Issues that elude your professors and the great thinkers and policymakers of our time. Let me give you an example. Many years ago, on a day much like today, a warm afternoon in September, in fact, right about this time of mid-afternoon, a different kind of switch was being thrown in Manhattan. And with this small act, the world was changed forever. At that instant, on September 4th, 1882, Pearl Street Station came to life, the world's first ever electric power plant. It served only 85 customers in 1 square mile, lighting about 400 lamps, including notably in the newsroom of the New York Times. The man who threw the switch is familiar to all of us, Thomas Edison. And I don't need to describe what followed. Soon enough, everything was being electrified, from street lamps to rail cars to hand tools. Eventually, even the rudimentary analog computers became electromechanical and poised us for another enormous leap forward. And so with that flip of the switch, a new age dawned, an era of technological and industrial wonder. But for each breakthrough, there is often a new set of challenges, and so it was in this case. For his first 85 customers, when Edison threw that switch, he directed about 600 kilowatts of electricity. Today, 7 billion citizens of this world demand more than 20 trillion kilowatts, from 600 to 20 trillion. And by 2050, demand is expected to double. By that point, it's thought that we could face a gap between supply and demand that's almost equal to the entire energy output of the world a decade ago. And the realities of climate change call the question, at what cost? How do we strike a balance between supply versus demand versus stewardship of our planet? How do we sustainably provision energy to our world on into the future? To say these questions are complex is an understatement. And this is just but one of a host of urgent issues facing the world. I could cite dozens more. How do we deliver high-quality, cost-effective health care? How do we transform K-12 education in this nation? How can we use the arts as a vehicle of social change? But despite the breadth of these vexing problems and compelling opportunities, they do have one thing in common. Great universities, like Dartmouth College, dare to take them on. So let's talk about that. What is required for a place like Dartmouth to tackle issues such as these? First is courage, the willingness to be bold. These issues are way too difficult to be wrestled to the ground with incremental advances. Truly innovative, game-changing ideas are necessary. College campuses are crucibles of innovation, and throughout your Dartmouth career, we will stretch and develop your creative mind in classes such as Acting 1 and Engine 20, and outside the classroom in places like the Den Innovation Center. Second, these issues need many perspectives coming together. Problems such as these span all modes of thought and all academic ages. Coming back to energy for the moment, if that's what turns your crank, teams of undergraduates, graduate students, faculty work together at the Thayer School devising energy-efficient technologies. Faculty at Tuck study the energy industry. In arts and sciences, scholars and students look at energy policy, develop new energy storage technologies, and understand the environmental and human impacts of energy extraction and climate change. This work takes place on campus, here in Hanover, but also across the globe. Students and faculty out on an ice cap in Peru or in remote Greenland, assessing the impact of glacial retreat. And we must not forget Dartmouth alumni who work in energy issues in the business, government, and nonprofit sectors. So Dartmouth, as one of the great universities in this country, uniquely has the power to convene these many groups to bring together their diverse perspectives and expertise around these daunting energy challenges. In his book, The Difference, the eminent social scientist Scott Page delivers the case for why diverse groups working together perform better at prediction, problem solving, and innovation than do groups with homogeneous perspectives and experiences. And he details the decades of research studies that back up his positions. Which leads me back to a point I made last Tuesday and has been made earlier today at this event, when I spoke to the class of 18 at their first class meeting. And I urged you to look for the talents that lie in every member of the community. Embrace the diverse experiences that they bring. Include all persons and all things. Welcome each other into all you do without regard to things like gender or race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, political persuasion. Recognize and value the rich perspectives that others bring from their experiences. Undocumented students or veterans, international students, as well as students who grew up right here in New Hampshire. As Scott Page reminds you, to include a diversity of talents, experiences, and perspectives is to enhance your ability to make a mark on the world. So, it's my hope that at some point, unique to your own Dartmouth journey, one of the great questions of the world, whether it's energy or whether it's healthcare, one of these will throw a switch that literally turns you on and directs your untold intellectual energy. When that time comes, be bold, think big, and remember my favorite proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This is a great moment for Dartmouth. The campus is alive with energy on the first day of classes. And for the class of 2018, we anxiously await those moments that will determine how you decide to apply the great tools at your disposal against work that demands the very best of you and is of enormous import to the world. When that switch is thrown, your intellectual energy has the power to change the world. Let us dare to make the world a better place. Let us do it together. And when we do, we'll be amazed at how far we go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Hanlon. And now, please rise and join the Dartmouth College Gospel Choir and Glee Club in the singing of the Alma Mater.
Dear old Dartmouth, give our rouse for the college on the hill, for the lone pine above her, and the loyal ones who love her. Give a rouse with a will, for the sons of old Dartmouth, for the daughters of Dartmouth. Go round the girdled earth, a rope her spell on them remains. They have the still north in their hearts, the hill winds in their veins, and the granite of New Hampshire in their muscles and their brains, and the granite of New Hampshire in their muscles and their brains. Dear old Dartmouth, set a watch, lest the old traditions fail. Stand a sister, stands by brother, dare a deed for the old mother. Greet the world from the hills with a hail, for the sun Hampshire is made part of them till death, and the granite of New Hampshire is made part of them till death.
Thank you. Please be seated. As we conclude the convocation with the recessional, please remain in your seats, and thank you very much for joining us today. Have a wonderful year.